Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for Wednesday's daily talk of stock. And I hope all of you are having a wonderful Wednesday. The markets were very positive today. We saw the bulls were fed vegetables, as we could see by the heat map on screen, full of green. We had 71% in the gaining category, and that was because the markets were reacting to the ADP jobs data. And with the data, we saw, where does it say here? It says it somewhere on here. We saw that the private payrolls declined by 32,000 in November. And so this is a scenario where bad news is actually good news. If you're new here, you may be saying, why are the markets reacting positively with the labor market weakening? And well, that is because the market's eyes are really focused on the Federal Reserve, which has a dual mandate to maximize employment while also keeping stable prices. And so with the labor market showing some cracks and weakness, this only increases the chances that the Federal Reserve will do more QE, quantitative easing. And this is exactly what we have been talking about on this channel. So the Federal Reserve already cut in September. They cut in October. They just ended quantitative tightening on December 1st. I see no reason for them to not cut here at this next big meeting, which is on December 10th. And so right now there is an 89% projection that the Fed does cut. And that's exactly what we have been saying on this channel. We maintained on this position even when the markets were dropping recently and these odds weren't as high as they are now. And that is again because the Federal Reserve has already shown their hands. And recently, when there was that bit of a sell-off in the markets, a lot were thinking it was just because of Michael Burry and also the talk of the AI bubble. But we were talking about how the Federal Reserve just pumped $29 billion worth of liquidity to all these different banks. And so there were a lot of liquidity issues in the market, but we are starting to see a rebound. And with this recent fear, uncertainty, and doubt, we were talking about how we have been buying the dip, which right now does look like that was a great opportunity because we came down significantly on the relative strength index for both of the major indexes. And then we have most recently seen a bullish cross on the MACD. And so right now, things are looking very positive within the markets. And again, I do believe that the Fed will cut on December 10th, which will be massive for the markets. And the way we have been preparing on this channel, what I have been talking about is all these different technology plays and risk assets that should see a big push up when QE does start happening. One of those risk assets I have been talking about, Rich Tech Robotics, which had a massive day. So we're going to talk a bit about robotics today, quantum computing, and then also BigBearAi. Now, as always, this is never financial advice, always just my opinion. But in my opinion, 2026 and beyond is going to be massive for robotics, and we are really just seeing the beginning of robotics integrated into our society. I know living out here in Tempe, Arizona, this is definitely an area with a ton of innovation out here. I see a ton of technology and robotics. We have self-driving cars with the Waymos. We have the Serve robotics, which are delivering food. Also a ton of robotics at Arizona State University. And so Rich Tech Robotics is one of our favorite plays. We just talked about it on the top 3 stocks for the month of December. So if you haven't checked out that video, click the little card above because I go even deeper into Rich Tech Robotics and we really talk about what the future may be. A lot of true intrinsic value with this company. But today was a massive day for the robotics sector as we did get this rumor here, and that is that the Trump administration is reportedly considering executive orders to accelerate development. And I could definitely see that happening because the Trump administration is very pro crypto, very pro AI, very pro technology. And we have seen a big push from this presidency for AI. We saw that big $500 billion Stargate investment just to start his presidency. So within a month, he showed how bullish he is in this AI sector. And we have seen so much since then. We have seen Trump hanging out with Larry Ellison of Oracle and also Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. There's been a massive push for all these data centers. And that's exactly why we are always talking about these plays, because we are following what the president and the current administration is doing. And again, that is a push for technology, and it looks like soon to be robotics, some executive orders to accelerate the development. That is huge. We also saw Secretary Howard Lutnick is meeting with industry CEOs today. So that is massive. We love Rich Tech Robotics because of the true intrinsic value with this company. They are all out in Las Vegas, and they have some big players supporting them, including NVIDIA. And recently, Rich Tech just picked up a big contract with the Las Vegas Knights. And so we look at the technical analysis, currently sitting at a tremendous spot, because we did have this hard sell-off with the rest of the markets most recently, but this did present a great opportunity, and I just bought the dip on Rich Tech Robotics. And so admittingly so, I missed this entire run up, and I was getting a lot of fear of missing out, but I purchased some options contracts in this play on the way down, as well as what may be the bottom right here, as the stock did hit all the way down to the 200-day moving average, was also very low on the relative strength index. And then most recently, we have seen a bullish cross on the MACD. And so myself, I am making a career out of these oversold reversals. I personally love to invest into stocks when they are beat down, when there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And when we see this exact setup, when we are low on the candlestick chart, when we are low on the relative strength index, and then when we are seeing a bullish cross on the MACD, and when we do look at the candlesticks, we have a very thick bullish hammer here. So the stock price acceleration may only be continuing with Rich Tech Robotics. This is a very volatile company, and they have a decently low market cap. So Rich Tech Robotics is still under 1 billion. If you understand anything about market cap, you know the lower the market cap is, the less money it takes to make the stock run up even higher. And this right here isn't just some gimmick. Rich Tech Robotics is popping up everywhere in Las Vegas, and a lot of employers are in favor of this because of how expensive it is to employ, and with how robots don't ever need to take off anytime. They never demand overtime. You don't have to pay them. You may just have to repair them. This is the direction a lot of these Las Vegas companies are heading. And so Rich Tech Robotics has had a lot of research and development leading up to this point, but now we are starting to see these robots actually enter into society. So again, places such as the Hilton, Golden Corral, and others are using Rich Tech. And so historically, Rich Tech hasn't had the best quarterlies, but we do expect for that to change very soon, as they are just being implemented into society. And again, we just got this news that the Trump administration may be doing some executive orders to accelerate this. Pretty wild times that we live in. So Rich Tech had a nice day. This is not a stock that I am currently invested into, but iRobot also did have a pretty large day. It was one of the top movers within the market today. So when we look at iRobot, it was up 76%. Look at that massive jump we had there. That is absolutely wild. I believe that this is really only the beginning for what we are going to see in this robotics sector. I am very bullish on robotics for all of 2026, and I have some long-term options contracts, some leaps on Rich Tech Robotics. And so just like we're talking about innovation and how this may be the beginning of the robot sector going really crazy, a sector that we saw last year that had just started the momentum was the quantum sector. So our favorite play here, QBTS, at the beginning of 2025 was worth just around $1. And look at all the progress we have made since that point. So at one point, we were all the way up to $46. Most recently, we did see a hard sell-off with the rest of the markets. But talking about technicals, just like Rich Tech Robotics, it does appear that we may be seeing a bullish reversal as we have started to finally see some stabilization on the candlestick chart. We are right in the middle of this layer here, and it does appear that, you know, we are starting to see some bullish momentum again. We came down significantly on the relative strength index, and then on the MACD, it does appear that we may be seeing a bullish reversal here. And I really like comparing quantum to robotics because just like robotics has been under a lot of research and development, and it's finally coming into the public's eyes, we're finally starting to see real integration with it into society. Well, that is exactly how quantum has been this entire last year. Over the last 20 years, there's been a ton of R&D, a ton of research and development with quantum. But this last year, we have seen some true quantum leaps and some real breakouts with this sector. So our favorite play here, QBTS, D-Wave Quantum, they have had a tremendous customer acquisition this last year. Their bookings up 500% year over year. And there's kind of a quantum race going on right now between all these different big quantum players. Google, IBM, D-Wave Quantum, you have Rigetti providing the quantum chips. And so there is a lot of attention on this sector. And I like to invest into plays once again while we are beat down. And so with the quantum plays, I'm a long-term investor in QBTS, also QUBT. But for this entire quantum sector, now that we are seeing this bullish reversal, I'm going to be looking at trading a lot of these plays because this sector does tend to run together. It's pretty correlated. So not only QBTS, which is down, but also Rigetti, also QUBT, a lot of these quantum plays. And if you know anything about quantum from this entire last year, these stocks go crazy. The rip up could be absolutely euphoric. We saw with Rigetti here, look at those massive green candlesticks. The stock was worth $16 and went all the way up to the high 50s at one point. Same to be said with QBTS. When we started covering it, it wasn't even $10 yet, and it ran all the way up to 46. And so with all these quantum plays, when it comes to day trading, these are the plays that I'm going to be looking at day trading if the bullish momentum does continue within the markets. And again, what I have said for the long run is QE is going to be tremendous for all these risk assets. And when QE is really put into full force, when Jerome Powell really cranks out that money printer and gets it going, this is when these stocks can have the craziest rip ups. And so I'm going to be looking at doing some day trading with the double leveraged opportunities within quantum, because every 1% that the underlying goes up, the double leveraged opportunity goes up by 2%. Tremendous opportunities for day trading. Again, I've talked about doing some live day trading here in the very near future, either here in December or at the beginning of this next year. And that is because of QE. I have chosen the time period to wait for day trading more to the end of December or January, because once QE is implemented, this is going to be massive, and quantum a very volatile sector that is going to rip hard. So I do believe that right now, if you are looking for a great swing trade opportunity or even going very long, you know, being a long-term investor, I think that there are tremendous opportunities within the quantum sector and also tremendous trading opportunities with the double leveraged plays. The last play that we're going to hop into here, BigBearAI. BigBearAI, we just talked about it yesterday. There is going to be some dilution with the stock. So there's going to be up to 1 billion shares at some point in time with Big Bear, but they are going to dilute predictably and over time, looking for about 7% every single year. And this is a case scenario where I consider the dilution to not be too bad. Although we never really want to see dilution, of course, in this scenario, it's not really the worst because Big Bear has been growing over this entire last year, and they are really focused on growing the company and acquiring more and more customers. And with that, that, they are doing a big acquisition of another company named Ask Sage, which also does have a lot of ties to a lot of government organizations. And so this is going to be a massive acquisition for BigBearAi. Where we are currently sitting at, I consider this to be an accumulation zone because we are right at this 200-day moving average. We are low on the relative strength index, and then we are also very low on the MACD, and we may be seeing a bullish cross here. And so with Big Bear, I am investing into this play for the long term. I have a lot of options contracts, which are leaps going all the way out to 2027 with very low break-even prices, because I do expect for there to be some crazy momentum within Big Bear sometime this next year. In the short term, things have been decently choppy with the Big Bear, but what is positive is we are still at this level of support. So we have been in a consolidation zone in Big Bear all the way since the end of June when we saw this big gap up. And so Big Bear has been sitting right in between $6 and all the way up to around $8.50 has been the main consolidation zone. Again, we are also right at the 200-day moving average, and there's a lot of true intrinsic value with BigBearAi, another company where we are seeing more and more Big Bear. If you have been to any airports this last year, there is a pretty good chance that you have seen Big Bear. If you've been out to the airports in the United States or even the UK airport out at Heathrow. And so Big Bear is popping up everywhere, just like Rich Tech Robotics is popping up everywhere in Las Vegas, and Quantum also gaining a lot of value. A quantum race, not just between the United States companies, but also Chinese quantum as well. So a lot of true intrinsic value with all of these stocks. And the fear of missing out can really get crazy, especially once we see full-blown QE. But I would be curious to hear what you all think in the comments section below. So please drop a comment. Please let me know what you think about the robotics sector, the quantum sector, what you think about BigBearAi, or if there is any other plays that you are currently looking at. Also, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I thank you all so much as always, and I will see you in the next daily talk of stock.